walked into the store on a normal afternoon, carrying nothing but a shopping list and a card that didn't belong to her. What happened next? Whispers, laughter, ugly words that showed what some people really thought of folks like her. But by the end of the day, everything changed, and the people who judged her were left embarrassed, begging to keep their jobs and learning a lesson they'd never forget. Janelle Carter adjusted the strap of her leather tote bag as she walked through the sliding doors of Greenfield Market, a modest grocery store tucked between an old laundromat and a barbershop. It was late afternoon, and the air outside felt sticky with the weight of summer, but inside, the hum of the refrigeration units and the scent of fresh produce offered a moment of relief. She wasn't here for herself today. In her bag, she carried an envelope filled with carefully clipped grocery lists from 3 elderly women who lived on her old street: Miss Ruth, Miss Alma, and Mr. Leonard. Each of them struggled to get around, and Janelle had promised she'd pick up what they needed and drop it off later that evening. She also had an EBT card in her wallet, entrusted to her by Miss Ruth. "Use mine, baby," Miss Ruth had said that morning. "Don't spend your own money on me." So Janelle did what she always did. She said yes. Because even after everything she'd achieved in life, even after she had become wealthy beyond her childhood dreams, she still felt deeply connected to her community. Greenfield was where she had been raised, where she had learned resilience, faith, and the quiet power of looking out for your neighbors. She moved carefully through the aisles, picking up soup cans, fresh fruit, oatmeal, bread, and a few packs of herbal tea. Her basket grew heavy in her arms, but she kept going. In aisle 7, she noticed a man stocking shelves who wore a badge that read, "Marcus, Store Manager." He watched her for a moment, eyes flicking down to her basket, then to her skin, and then away again. She kept her head high, refusing to let suspicion stick to her spirit. At checkout, Janelle pulled the EBT card from her wallet. The cashier, a young woman named Emily, gave a quick, tight smile. But before Emily could even swipe the card, Marcus walked over, arms crossed over his chest. "Figures," Marcus muttered under his breath. "These people never stop taking from the system." Janelle's heart tightened. She had heard that tone too many times in her life, the lazy judgment dripping from words spoken just loud enough for her to hear. A couple in the next line, both white and about Marcus's age, glanced over. The woman gave a small, mean laugh. "Unbelievable," she whispered to her husband. "Always looking for handouts." The man snickered in agreement. "Bet she's got a nicer phone than we do," he added. Janelle kept her head down, willing her hands not to shake as she placed a loaf of bread on the belt. But inside, something hot and sharp burned in her chest. Not anger exactly, more a sorrow that, even now, after all she had built, this was still her reality. Emily, the cashier, looked uncomfortable. Her eyes darted between Janelle and Marcus. "Ma'am, would you like to swipe your card?" she asked gently. Before Janelle could answer, Marcus cut in. "If you ask me, we should put a limit on how much they can buy. You see one? You've seen them all. Lazy and entitled." The words felt like a slap in the quiet of the checkout lane. A few other shoppers turned to watch. Some looked away quickly, embarrassed. Others smirked, enjoying the scene. Janelle forced herself to breathe, reminding herself why she was here. This wasn't about her pride. It was about Miss Ruth, Miss Alma, and Mr. Leonard, people who deserved dignity and kindness. She finished paying, gathered her bags, and walked out of the store without a word. But as the door slid shut behind her, she made a silent promise to herself. She would be back. A few days later, Janelle walked back into Greenfield Market. But this time, she wasn't carrying anyone else's card. She wore a navy dress tailored to perfection, her hair neatly pinned back. A diamond bracelet gleamed softly on her wrist. And she didn't come alone. Beside her walked Henry, the district manager from corporate, who had been waiting for this visit ever since she had called him. They paused near the entrance just beyond the security sensors. Customers moved around them, pushing carts and chatting, unaware of what was unfolding. Janelle scanned the store. Marcus was talking to an employee near the deli counter, his back turned to her. She took a slow breath, then stepped forward. "Marcus," she called calmly. He turned, his expression shifting from mild annoyance to confusion, and then, unmistakably, to recognition. "Ms. Carter?" Marcus stammered. Yes, she said, her voice steady but cool. You remember me, I assume? Marcus swallowed. Of course, from the other day. Look, about that. Henry stepped forward, his corporate badge visible. Marcus, this is Ms. Carter, the owner of this store, and several others in the county. We're here to talk. They gathered near the customer service counter. Henry folded his hands, his expression grave. Ms. Carter has shared with me what happened during her last visit, he said. Marcus paled. It was a misunderstanding, he blurted out. I didn't realize who she was. That's exactly the problem, Janelle interrupted softly. You judged me because of what you saw. You didn't know my story and you didn't care to ask. Marcus opened his mouth, closed it, then tried again. I thought you were just another person who doesn't deserve respect, she finished for him. Behind them, Emily, the cashier, hovered, her face flushed. Ms. Carter, Emily said timidly, I wanted to apologize too. I should have spoken up. I'm sorry. Janelle gave her a small nod. Thank you, Emily. It takes courage to admit that. Marcus turned back to Janelle, desperation creeping into his voice. Please, Ms. Carter, I can't lose this job. I've got a family. Janelle looked at him for a long moment, the weight of everything he'd said still heavy in the air. By the time they realized who I really was, it was too late. And trust me, if this story has you locked in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got more where this came from. You can't treat people this way, she said at last. Not in my store, not anywhere. I know, Marcus whispered, eyes wet. I was wrong. Please, I'll do better. Henry spoke next, his tone firm. Effective immediately, Marcus. You're relieved of your duties as store manager. Marcus's shoulders sagged. Please! However, Janelle interjected, I'm not completely without mercy. Marcus looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. You're going to attend a mandatory training course on dignity, diversity, and how to treat every person who walks through these doors, she said. If, and only if, you complete the training and show real understanding, you can reapply for an assistant position here, not as a manager, as someone who listens and learns. Marcus's face flushed with shame. Thank you, he whispered hoarsely. I promise I'll do better. I hope you mean that, she replied, her gaze unwavering, because next time, there won't be another chance. Janelle turned to Emily. I'll need your help, she said. I want every employee to attend the training, including you, not as punishment, but as education. We serve a community that's bigger than our assumptions. Yes, ma'am, Emily said quickly. Absolutely. Henry nodded. I'll coordinate it. Janelle took a slow breath, letting the moment settle. And one more thing, we're starting a new program. Anyone who wants to volunteer to help shop for our elderly and disabled neighbors can sign up. The store will cover a portion of the cost and we'll help coordinate deliveries. Emily's face lit up. That's wonderful. It's the least we can do, Janelle said. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood. At first, the couple who had laughed at Janelle stayed away, embarrassed to be recognized. But the people who knew her story, the people who remembered the little girl who grew up in a modest apartment down the street, came to the store and thanked her. One afternoon, Miss Ruth came in, leaning heavily on her cane, and gave Janelle a hug that smelled of lavender and warm bread. I always knew you'd come back to us, Miss Ruth said softly. Janelle smiled, blinking back tears. I never really left, she replied. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere inside Greenfield Market shifted. Emily, now promoted to floor supervisor, led the volunteer shopping program with pride. The training sessions changed the way the staff saw their customers, not as burdens, but as neighbors. Marcus returned, humbler and quieter. He stocked shelves, offered to help customers carry bags, and, for the first time in years, listened more than he spoke. Some employees were skeptical at first, but gradually they saw a man trying to rebuild himself. One evening, Janelle stayed late to check the books. The store was empty except for the night crew. As she walked toward the exit, she paused by aisle 7, the spot where Marcus had first humiliated her. She remembered the shame she'd felt that day, the heavy, familiar sting of judgment. But she also remembered why she'd returned, not to punish, but to teach. to remind people that you never know someone's story until you listen. Before she left, she straightened a display of soup cans, a small gesture, but a reminder of where she'd started and why she still cared. Outside, the neon sign above Greenfield Market glowed softly against the night sky. Janelle paused, looking back at the store she owned, the people she'd helped, and the community she loved. And then, with her head high and her heart full, she walked to her car, ready to do more good tomorrow.